Holy shit, I look tired? Yeah, dog. I played for 12 and a half hours and now it's 9 a.m. Hello and welcome everybody to our day one recap, starting off as a Nova Thunderstorm Sorceress in Season 3 of Project Diablo 2. We've gone through and we've gotten what I would consider to be a basic kit of gear for you to actually start farming the targeted areas that I would recommend for this build, and what we'll do is we'll go over the gear, the stats, the mercenary choice and why, and then go through the different farming spots, trying to go over some little nuances, what to look out for, what to stop you from getting absolutely one-tapped, because Season 3 in vanilla content has become incredibly fruitful for farming due to the players' changes that have gone into effect, making this now theoretically better for specific target farming, as well as what the ultimate goal of the build is, and as well as the fact that, quite frankly, the game's just harder. The game's just harder. Gear scales more appropriately, meaning you're going to be getting more power in the end game at the top end of your gear, which has been one of the hallmarks of Project Diablo 2 since Season 1. So for the gear that we have right now, as far as like pure power level is concerned, we are wearing an Oculus that rolled 2/16/33. We have a 1 to lightning skills 20 FCR with cold res circlet. We have telling of beads, so big res, +1 to all skills. We have an Atma's Whale that we socketed with a Hell Rune so that I could take off a little bit of that strength requirement. A random rare shield that just so happened to roll 20 faster cast rate and 30 all res with some additional stats. We have Mage Fist, a high lightning resistance ring. We're using a 10 FCR with strength in dual res belt. We are using a tri-res magic find ring that we're going to be swapping over to our elite barbarian for the tri-res dual leech when we do Ubers. And then we have Inferno Stride. On our charm section right now, we are currently using 2 skillers and 1 lightning damage large charm. These are the only ones that we have found as of the end of day 1. And everything else is either life, resistance, or hit recovery so that we can hit various breakpoints. On the swap, when we do have enough strength to actually be farming the area, we do have a 58 Magic Find Millibregas that we swap out with our FCR shield. The mercenary that we're using is an Act 3 Cold Mercenary, so that means that we're going to get the Prayer Aura. We're stacking as many plus to skills and faster cast rate as we can. For the Mercenary right now, the Mercenary is sitting at the 67 FCR point. This gets them up to the 63 breakpoint. There is a 58 faster cast rate breakpoint, and that one is obviously easier to get to, but it actually moves the action flag back by 1 frame. What does that mean? It means that the Mercenary's spells go off 1 frame later in the animation. The 63 FCR breakpoint is just strictly better because the spells are going to be coming out 1 frame faster, so keep that in mind. He's currently using a Wizard Spike for huge all-res and 50 FCR, as well as a 1 to Sorceress skill levels 10 FCR circlet with big res. They're using a +2 cold skills Ice Blink, and Ancient's Pledge for additional res. At this point, I would like to get them onto a Spirit Shield. They have Saigons for big cold res, a Talrash's Belt for Magic Find when they happen to get the Killing Blow that will add to our Magic Find total. And then some FCR res gloves that I happen to craft for myself, and we don't have anything else to put in the slot yet for him at this time. I would like to have Frostburns on here eventually. For our stats, right now, we have enough strength to be able to wear our gear, even when swapped, and then the rest of it is going into Vitality. Our breakpoints, we're at the 105 FCR breakpoint, and we're also at the 117 faster cast rate for lightning frames on teleport. That's actually really important. Just getting up to 105 still feels very slow in comparison to the 78 breakpoint for teleport. So you want to be trying to max out here and here, which means realistically you want 120 FCR when you're at the 105 breakpoint. So we just talked a whole bunch about all of that, but what do the stats look like, and what does Nova feel like coming into Season 3 in what I would consider to be early game gear for the build? For our skills, we're going to put 1 point into Warmth just because Nova is a really mana hungry setup, and I don't currently have Source of Meditation Aura because we don't have an Insight yet. I'd rather the Mercenary have that breakpoint and the huge resistance so that he can actually tank stuff like Mephisto to the face for us. The rest of our points are going strictly into Nova and Nova synergies for damage. So we have max Nova, max Charge Bolt, max Telekinesis, and max Lightning Mastery. We go down to Teleport, 1 point into Static, because realistically we're only using this to get people down to the minimum point for Static, as opposed to looking to maximize the minus enemy lightning resistance. We can't stand too close to stuff right now without getting one-tapped, so this is strictly used for bosses. Speaking of damage, our Thunderstorm is doing 500 to 2500 every time that strikes, and our Nova is currently at 1900 to 2700. And just to give you an idea of what the FCR breakpoint looks like and what the Nova breakpoint looks like, here's the 105 Nova breakpoint. Wow, that's fast. And then here's the 117 teleport breakpoint. For our Magic Find setup right now, to be able to maintain our breakpoints, good resistances, and also good damage, what I'm only doing is I'm swapping out the Circlet in the Amulet for 2-piece Tankreds. This gets us 78 Magic Find, as well as 10 All-Res, which is actually a really nice 2-set bonus. If you want to, you could definitely feel free to socket something like the Tankreds with a P Topaz right now, just to get a little bit more Magic Find out of it. And this puts us at 152 Magic Find. That I feel is pretty good for the kill speed that we maintain, especially on act bosses like Andariel and Mephisto. So I wanted to jump back in real quick. I know this looks like the exact same thing, but we made a major improvement overall to our kill speed, our farm ability, and gameplay wise, we've just like bumped ourselves over to that next point where we really needed, was having a source of lower resist on swap with our Magic Find. What this does is allows us to break a lot of immunes that otherwise were completely unkillable to us, so we just had to maneuver around them a bit. And this also drastically increases our kill speed on our targets, which are the key farm bosses, as well as Mephisto and Andariel, and lets us kill a much wider range of monsters. So, from all the gameplay that you're going to see in a quick second, just imagine that at the beginning of that fight, and every 6 to 7 seconds, I swap, cast lower res, and then continue to farm. This also means when you're killing a boss, you want to swap over to this just before, since we are going to be getting more Magic Find out of our Millibregas. This, quite frankly, brings our kill speed up to a very comparable place with a lot of the other Sorceress builds on this same amount of plus to skills. The only thing that this doesn't enable us to do is Hell Cows. That's still just a little bit too sketchfest. I'd rather farm out Nightmare Cows until I had a lot more plus to skills and then go back in there where I wouldn't have to rely on a lower resist wand. For our gear, we also managed to find this Tri-Res Energy Life FCR ring. With this setup, our resistances are now highly positive across the board, especially fire resist, nice. And the only thing that we're really hurt by is lightning, but you just kind of have to play smarter. What this does mean is that Mephisto can pop you with a really bad charge bolt, so make sure that you have your Mercenary in front of you and you're moving and not just standing there and autopiloting farming him. Mephisto is still a little bit tricky. So what I want to do now is I want to go through a lot of great places for you to be safely farming, and then go into some of the sketchier places and hopefully not show you me dying, but give you an idea of what are the dangers that you want to look out for coming into Season 3, especially early in the game, before you have something like Inashudas or Facets or a lot more plus to skills from your charms. So 2 of the easiest places to farm, and if you were to only do this, you would eventually get drops, and I would recommend stacking even more Magic Find if possible, would be Eldritch and Pindle. The only issue that you can run into on Eldritch is if he happens to be lightning enchanted, as well as some of the monsters here are also lightning immune, so you want to look out for them. If Eldritch happens to be lightning enchanted like he is right now, I recommend clearing out everything else around him, popping back, and then actually targeting him with Telekinesis. So Telekinesis does actually have higher damage potential, as well as great CC, to be able to keep stuff like Eldritch at bay while you kill them. And for Pindle, you want to stop just short of where he would be, and start casting Nova early, so as they walk into you, they get put into hit recovery, and hopefully don't hit you with their charge. Now, I didn't show it here because I'm a big dum-dum, but what you actually want to do is you actually want to kill Pindle first, and even maybe pop through and check right here. You can often find a shrine, and that might be an XP shrine, which would be good, especially if on the lower end of level 70 or so. Now that we have a Cold Res shrine, why don't we go ahead and fight ourselves some Mephisto? Mephisto can definitely be a little spicy, so you're going to want to use the little setup and scenario that I have going on right now. I think is definitely the safest. So you're going to want to pull Mephisto across here because you just can't kill the majority of the council members. You want to pull him as far away as possible. You want to get a few statics in there. And then, quite frankly, you sit behind your mercenary and you telekinesis him to death. Now, if you're looking at our mercenary, Khaleesi, as long as you feed them a few super health potions, they're absolutely strong enough to completely tank Mephisto on max res for us. And then, like I said, you just telekinesis him down. These charge bolts are something that can endanger your life, so you want to make sure that you're drinking health potions while that's coming through. And then you get absolutely garbage drops. Thanks, Mephisto. But that's how you want to be fighting him. I also do go through and hit this chest back here. And remember that a lot of magic items now are a lot more powerful because you can get FCR and plus to skill as affixes on them, especially items with staff mods. Other than the Tainted, you can fight everything down here. So if you have a good amount of magic find, feel free to like stop in and fight other things in this area, and I will clear this amp. Amp is just strong right now. Your boy does need to kill these people for us, but check out this Act 3 Mercenary. Absolutely strong. It's like very, very strong, actually. For Andariel, after getting your statics in, I do think that the best play is to just sit here and TK. Your Mercenary, you definitely can keep them alive by teleporting, and I recommend that. His DPS is pretty significant, especially when he drops the Blizzard. And there you go. Ring, Suffering, got yourself an Angelix. There you go. Easy peasy. Angelix, remember, Angelix right now, super important. Stacking attack rating early game for a lot of melee builds is very difficult, as well as good slams on Angelix will actually go for a really high price in the low level dueling. So keep these, slam them when you get good ones. If you're not using it for a melee build, put it up on the market. People will buy them. So that's Andariel. You do need to rely on your Mercenary killing the lightning immunes for you. But when he drops Blizzard, they pop pretty instantly on players 1. So there are a couple other places that we can farm, and I have saved what I think is the best for last. I absolutely recommend, like, if you have the patience to do so, farming Arcane Sanctuary on the Lightning Sorc feels amazing, has huge drop potential, gets you a key every time, and also has a chance at 9 super chests worth of runes, good rares, and the potential for a lot of crafting materials, as well as jewels for your actual equipment and charms. Arcane Sanctuary, unless something rolls as lightning res on a Ghoul Lord, everything should pop very quickly. Because the area is now larger, it means that killing the specters is a lot safer because they will more often than not be found over a walkway. There are going to be a lot of packs where I don't think stopping for them is really the play. I really only go for density when there are other good stuff around it, or if it's a boss pack. I used to just stop for everything, but I don't really think it's worth it. Kill your ghosts, move on. Get yourself an Io rune. I do go down both sides, and I like to stop a little bit further away from a pack than right on top of it. Again, I don't think that you're safe enough until you go Energy Shield to really be tele-stomping. So you want to try to give yourself a little bit of space. But here is where you actually start to feel powerful on the Nova Sorc. And then you pop one, you get a soul rune, and you're like, but Mac! I'm like, yeah, I get it. Hello? What is in here? Thank you. Sick. Easy. Just get the new orb. That thing is awesome. As a summoner, you do want to get up close because you do want to static him like every couple of Novas. He has a lot of health. Get your key. Get out of there. It's really easy to go from here to waypoint. And then end your run there. So let's talk about that one Arcane Sanctuary run that we just went through. What did we find in that run? We found life and mana, magic find, life, resistance, life and mana. We found a 9 ED ethereal decapitator, so you can use this for your beast base if you want to. We found an ethereal tempest, so this is already fantastic. This would be best in slot if we didn't happen to trade for an Oculus. Slamming this would be great. This is also just great for the lightning sorcerers in general because of that early game energy shield. Now you can get all the benefits of it without having to put points into it, so that's huge. We got our key. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 runes. We found all res with dual res in huge decks with gold find on an amulet, a bunch of gems, and yeah, just absolutely fantastic. And you get your key of hate, so go add that to your pile of keys. There's your pile of keys. Just add it right to that, and there you go. I quite frankly think that running the Arcane Sanctuary is your best bet right now. Huge chance for runes, good jewels, good charms, getting a key every single time, a lot of monsters in there, good density, good rares, good magics. It's just fantastic. Just a wonderful farming area. Absolutely.